Today, we're talking about how to attract high-end customers and how to book in those high-paying jobs. Now, in this episode, it's going to be a bit different because this is the episode I shot in Nashville with Jobber with their newly launched podcast, the Masters of Home Service Podcast. Now, in this one, you're going to learn from a different business in a different industry on what they do to attract high-end clients. And it's always fantastic. It's great to hear from other industries on what they do to run their business. So after you're done listening to this episode, I highly encourage you to go check out their podcast. You can click the link in the show notes, or if you're watching this on YouTube, just click the link down below and check out the Masters of Home Service Podcast. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started with this episode.
Stay in their mind. I had a client, we cut his grass for years. He emailed me out of the blue, loyal guy, weekly client, said, "Adam, do you know a good landscaper?" And I emailed back, I said, "Yeah, me." Welcome to Jobber's Masters of Home Service Podcast, where successful business owners share their secrets for making your business more profitable and efficient. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester, owner of Charlottesville Lawn Care and Charlottesville Gutter Pros for the last 15 years. I truly believe that service entrepreneurs need to come together from different service industries and swap stories, share tips, and learn from each other. By getting together and sharing each other's successes and failures, we can help each other level up. And that's the mission of Masters of Home Service. On today's episode, we're discussing marketing the sought-after high-end clients. With me is Christine Hodge, CEO of Clearview Washing in Freehold, New Jersey, specializing in exterior cleaning and chandelier cleaning. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And Oscar Gill, owner of R3 Auto Detailing and Detail Groove in Houston, Texas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, Christine, in your own words, what's the difference between marketing to a high-end client and everyone else?
We market to the high-end client in a way that captures and embraces luxury, because we know that the high-end customer isn't going to go for the budget plan or the budget bundle or the cheapest option. They're not even necessarily price shoppers. They're really looking for a company that can be their go-to company, the person that they call if they have an issue. And that's what we want to be and what we want to market to.
Mm-hmm. Oscar, what about you?
So for me, I have a little different take on it. To me, it's like the main thing that I'm focused on is attracting customers who value their vehicle, value our work, and have the budget to afford our services.
Mm-hmm. The way I look at it is our clients, high-end clients, generally, when they call for the first time, whether it's auto detailing or washing, they are just hoping that they answer the phone and then they get the problem solved immediately. They don't want to call 8 different vendors. Yep. They don't want to gather all these different quotes. They just want the problem solved as soon as possible. And if that's not them, if a client wants to call around a bunch, that's probably not a high-end client. But for me, a high-end client just wants a problem solved fast without a whole lot of hoops to jump through. They want you to solve the problem quickly.
Totally. And there's a lot of branding involved with it too. So if you have a good, reputation, 5-star reputation on Google, you have a sales representative doing the quote in person, not remotely, giving them a beautiful folder or some things to look at, scheduling them when they want to be scheduled, kind of working. Our trucks are showing up and they're all branded and they're consistent. Our employees are very put together. We're going to treat their home as if it's our own home, and we are the luxury company to go to.
You mentioned meeting people at their homes. Tell me more about that. I'm curious.
So any customer with a home larger than 3,500 square feet, we do in-person estimates for. And then the others, we try to quote them remotely. The reason we do this is because we can't get to every house that needs an estimate. That's just not possible with our sales team. But also we want to put our face, because a customer, even in a luxury home, may not know that you can get a roof cleaning, or they may not know that we can wash certain surfaces. So we want to be in front of them. We want them to see us, see what we represent, see our professionalism, and have a face-to-face conversation with them about our insurance coverage, for example, what we can do, what we can offer, plans, window washing plans. Our luxury clients are washing their windows every 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So these are the things that you can't necessarily do by phone or by email. We want to get in front of them and say, hey, you have a beautiful property. We want to take care of it for you every year, all year round.
Yeah, let's give it the care it deserves.
Right.
by showing up initially. What do you think, Oscar?
Yeah, no, to her point too, the whole basically creating a great customer experience to every single person, because even, I don't know if it's like, this is the same thing for every industry, but I mean, we have customers who come with us, are paying top dollar for our services. And they're like, man, like I've called like 4 other detailers. No one calls me back. Like you've just by calling me back is like already a much better experience than everyone else. But yeah, to her point too, it's like with everything that we do, we say the hassle-free experience. So it's like anything that we do at all with any customer, that anything happens, how can we create a hassle-free experience? So even if let's say we overlook something, or maybe we're running behind on the schedule and we're going to be late, it's like, well, even though it's a bad situation for the customer because maybe they expected us to be there at 11, we're going to get there at 11:30. How do we turn this into a hassle-free experience, right? So it's like, let's call the customer and give them options. We can get there at 11:30, and that's fine for them. We'll just do the job. Or would they like to get rescheduled to our earliest next availability to suit their needs? So with everything that we do, it's like, how do we create a hassle-free experience for the customer? So that means, when they call us, call them as soon as you can back, answer the call as quickly as you can, respond to the email as quickly as you can. Like we talk with our customers every day, like dozens of times per day, right? So it's like, at this point, we should know the exact questions, the exact process, the exact things that the customer needs. So our goal is to minimize the amount of communication, just because we already know what they want. Like there's no new service that anyone can ask right now that we're not aware of what they need and what we need from them. So we try to make sure our communication is at the absolute minimum, not because we don't want to talk to the customer, but more so we should be so efficient at this point, doing it hundreds of times, that we know what they need. We know the exact information we need to give them. We know what information we need to get from them. And this should be a very seamless, there should never be a point where they don't know the next step, right? They should always know what's going to happen next. And if they don't, that's a problem on us. They should know what time we're going to get there, how much it's going to be, how long we're going to take, what's going to happen if we don't finish that day, how to care for the vehicle afterwards. Every single thing that we do should be well communicated to the customer from day one. I called them on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. and I know all the steps going to happen till my appointment on Friday at 11 a.m. So that's how we think about it.
Yeah. I also think clients want, high-end clients, I think you're right, Des, but especially high-end clients, they want you to have a good CRM. They want you to have good technology. They want to have online payments. They want ease. They want simplicity. They have busy lives. We certainly do, right? They do too. And they also want, when you show up, like you said earlier, Christine, beautiful wrapped vans, for instance, they want to be able to brag about you after you leave.
100%.
They want their neighbors look out the window and say, wow, that's a sharp company. Not who'd they hire today? Oh, some guy. So I think that matters a lot. We care about image. We care about being able to brag about who we use.
Yeah, absolutely. A very big initiative for our company is employee retention, and just the team that we've created is very important to us. We will not keep someone on the team that doesn't fit our reputation. And that being said, every employee that we have on staff can be sent to the 10 or 15,000 square foot home and represent our brand well. And that's something that's very important. And I think it's key to growing a company that wants to attract the luxury client.
That's critical. If you think about a recurring service like window cleaning, a high-end client doesn't want a different person every time just because you keep losing the guy they had last time. They want a consistent employee who comes and builds that relationship. They're familiar with them. And so to a certain degree, it also comes back to the retention culture, making sure you have employees stay with you for a long time.
Totally.
Yeah. Let's take a quick 30-second break and come right back.
With the quick service clients expect today, you need to get them the quote as soon as possible. That could be the difference between you getting the contract or not. With Jobber, I can prepare and send the quote right from my phone before I even leave their driveway. My clients aren't waiting a couple weeks like some of my competitors. It builds trust, it wins me more jobs, and it all works so smoothly.
Smoother from start to finish. Quote, schedule, invoice, and get paid. Start your free trial today at jobber.com.
Christine, there's different pricing, right, in business, and generally speaking, high-end clients are going to pay more. What's the difference between, say, a $400 client or job versus a $4,000 job? What's the difference there?
Over the years, we've learned that the $400 client is usually a price shopper, and they were going for the cheapest price, but they're also going to be a guaranteed callback. So the $400 client is going to call if there's, one smear on a window in the, upstairs bathroom. The luxury client knows the value of our service, the time we put in, our reputation, our brand. They just know that we've taken care of their house, and they're generally not going to call back. But on top of that, they're also going to tip the guys well. They're going to request those guys for future jobs. They're going to leave you a review. They're going to call throughout the year and say, hey, I'm having a party this weekend. Can you come clean up my backyard? So we're going to service them multiple times a year. So there's additional value. I mean, there's also the value from, I guess, a P&L perspective or a financial perspective of spending one day at a job versus sending a crew to 3 or 4 houses per day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The fuel and the efficiency, you can just get more done at one spot.
Totally.
So there's a lot of value in catering to the luxury client. Our company really wants to exclusively only cater to the luxury client outside of commercial work.
Oscar, a question for you. I want to take our listeners down a path I think we're all thinking about. I really want to address it head on because it's important to me. I think it's important to our listeners. If someone drives up in a Ferrari, you charge them more than someone who drives a Corolla for the same service just because they have a nice car. What do you think?
Yeah, so I get that question a lot too, and it's like the thought process behind it almost makes sense. Like, well, it's a nicer vehicle. They have more money.
They can afford it.
They can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
It costs more. But to me, the way that we do things is it's always just based on 3 things. So flat answer is no. You don't necessarily just charge more because it's a nicer vehicle. But the 3 criteria of pricing, it's always the size of the vehicle, the condition of the vehicle, and what the customer wants. Respraying or maybe like replacing something on a Ferrari is just different than getting something replaced on like a Corolla. So there is that like actual difference. So you do go with a bit more care. If the service that they're getting matches, like, okay, we actually have to be more careful, then we will charge more, not because it's a Ferrari or Lambo or whatever, but more so like we actually have to spend more time because it's more delicate, because the brakes, the wheels, the paint, the whatever, that we have to actually take more time than if it was a Corolla. But on the same note though, it's like it's any vehicle. So if it could be Honda Civic Si, but it's like heavily modded and it's like some crazy paint work and some whatever, we'll also charge more on that vehicle because it requires that extra level of care and attention that other vehicles don't need it. So it's always just based on the size, condition, and then what the customer wants. And if it deems that we need to spend more time or more effort, be more delicate or be more whatever, we'll charge more, but not just a default, Ferrari charge more.
Yeah.
They're never that.
I agree with that. We have set prices per service category, either based on square footage or window count or things of that nature. The irony is the luxury homes, the 10, 15,000 square feet homes, we actually have bulk pricing in place because we're spending the day at one location, we don't have to charge the same amount per window. So once you hit a certain amount of windows, we can actually discount the windows. We have that set up through our, bidding software. So we wouldn't look at a home and say, this person has money, let's overcharge them. We are always going to use our pricing structure and do our best to accommodate their needs at a reasonable cost. If
you come look at our customers, like, you wouldn't really bat a second eye at what vehicle they drive. You wouldn't call them like, oh, they're high inclined, right? Because look at the vehicle. So let's say it's like a Toyota Tacoma, right? They'll still pay $600, $800, $1,400 for a service. The funny thing is, like, people have that notion of like, well, if they drive a Lambo, Ferrari, Porsche, whatever car, like, they must always pay for the nicest things, right? And there's a car wash down the street. It's like $10 for a car wash. I see Lambos, Porsches, Ferraris over there too, right? So it's not like a default, oh, they have money. They're going to go for the nicest thing, or of course they're going to pay the premium dollar for that service, right? That's why my big thing is like, we're going to attract the customer that values their vehicle, whether it's a Honda Civic or a Lamborghini. They have to value it. They have to value doing it correctly and properly, and that they can afford it.
Yeah. So marketing, how do you market to high-end clients? Christine.
So Google is our number one lead source, and we track our lead source. And I think it's very important to track the lead source, but Google's our number one lead source. So we do pump money into SEO and Google ads that cater to the high-end towns. So we know the towns, we've identified them in New Jersey, and we want our website directed in that direction. And I think that's a very good investment. Our website is very professional. It looks very clean on mobile and on the computer. And the button to request an estimate is everywhere. So regardless of where they are on our website, they can push a button and request an estimate. So like you said earlier, it's a seamless experience for them. It's easy for them to reach us. Our second biggest lead source is referrals. So again, if you have a 5-star team and you're hiring rock stars and you maintain employee reputation, employee retention, your employees are going to represent the brand so much that those luxury clients are spending time with other luxury clients, and you're going to get the whole street. You're going to get the whole neighborhood. And that's what ends up happening. They spend time with other wealthy people, and you're their guy. Hey, call Clearview Washing because they did a great job with my home. And then you end up getting all their friends. So those are my two biggest things really, is Google and referrals. And that's why I think it's important to track your lead source, because then you'll know where to pump the money into.
Right.
Yeah, so same thing for me. I would say like 80-90% of our leads come through Google as well, through SEO, search engine optimization. And we also run Google ads as well, just because we're already ranking for multiple keywords organically. So it just made sense to kind of complement that with Google ads. We make it very clear that we're not like a quick car wash. We're by appointment only. The pricing is like the biggest one, because if they're just skimming it, like, even if they just skim, like just like quickly go through that page,
Right.
they're gonna be like, whoa, that's too much. I'm not gonna call this provider.
Yeah, they would say this company isn't for me, and that's okay.
Then exactly, it's like it saves them time, so they don't waste time calling us thinking like, oh, it's not $15 for a wash, so that saves them time, saves us time. So it's definitely like a benefit to both sides to put our pricing there. Another thing is just the reviews, right? So if you have over 100, 200 reviews, if they see the pricing, right, and then they look at the reviews, like, oh, there's over like 140 reviews for all 5 stars. They already know what to expect. Like, it's done. It's going to be expensive. We're doing something right because we have so many reviews at that price point. Obviously, the big thing is the lead generation, right? Like, you have to get traffic to convert that to leads, and that converts to customers. But then it's everything around that, right? It's like the photos on the website. It's the copy, right? You're actually conveying that you are a premium provider, that you actually are much better than your average Joe, that you care about the process, that you care about the experience of the customer, that you want to make sure that they're going to be taken care of, the reviews on Google. So that's like the main thing. And then obviously, like, once they call you, because it's like you look at the funnel, and like every single step you can drop the ball somewhere. So like the lead generation could be great, but then your copy sucks, or you write the copy, it's great, and then you have terrible reviews, or you have all that right, and then you did everything good. They're calling you, and then you answer the phone the most horrible way you can possibly answer the phone. Everyone drops off, and you're like, why is it not working? So it's like you always gotta look at the full funnel to say from the traffic source all the way to like how you answer the phone call. It's like all that has to be optimized, because at any point that's not optimized, like all the customers just drop from that one little part that you messed up on.
Even the luxury client will lots of times choose the more expensive person because they know that they're going to get the value if the value was presented to them during that entire process you speak of. So we've even had some scenarios where a client would request a house wash and a window wash, for example, and we'll offer them a luxury bundle and quote everything that we can clean on the house. And we call the smallest bundle the budget plan. The luxury client will never associate themselves with a budget plan. So we've taken an $1,800 request and converted it to a $4,500 request just for offering it to them.
That's
so
good.
9 out of 10 times for us, if you present yourself well and check all those boxes you spoke of, and then present to them, these are all the things I can do for you. I don't know if you knew that. They're like, oh yes, I want luxury.
Yeah, that's great. The way I look at it is, what are my clients saying at the dinner party Saturday night after they had us come to their house this week? And one of the things for me is making sure that our brand is consistent across all platforms. Vans, uniforms, website, social, TV, radio, everywhere you go, all that stuff is consistent, because consistency builds trust inherently in human beings. And so when you consistently see the same thing over and over and over and over again, you trust it, even if you don't know who they are. It's amazing. Christine, there's a lot of strategy that goes into marketing. You obviously don't want to be showing ads or sending out mailers or marketing in places that you don't serve, like 2 counties away. So how have you approached really, because you mentioned earlier, geo-targeting your market base. How do you do that?
We do it in a few ways. We do use Google AdWords, and we are making sure that we only target the towns that we want to capture that audience. We actually do our Google ads ourselves, but there are professionals who can do this. We have an SEO person who has created town pages on our website. So we have pages for the luxury towns that we want to capture, which boost our company's, our website's SEO and directs it in the directions we need to go. But there are other methods too. So if we have a sales rep in a nice area, we will have them do a walk around and capture some of the surrounding homes during a sales consultation. Or
What do you mean by that? A walk around? Like flyers?
Well, we do have folders for the luxury clients. So we will leave folders with their neighbors as well to try and get them to call. So there's some physical activity that goes with it too. The trucks are like driving billboards. So that's just automatically going to capture a neighborhood. Luxury clients, one of their largest assets is their home. So, and real estate in general. So they are always looking for home maintenance. So we find that very easy. But there's another strategy, which is free, and that's on Facebook. Me and my husband have joined every town page for the luxury towns in New Jersey that hold the clients that we want to capture. And actually, I can't even say almost, daily, somebody says, has anyone used a local window washer that they loved? Has anyone used a local power washer? There was a storm last weekend. I need gutter cleaning. And me and my husband comment, Clearview Washing is excellent, or we can provide you with a free estimate. Just fill out this link. So you also want to create personal interactions through social media at no cost, but just by being on there and being involved and getting to know the community and their needs. We saw a lot of requests for chandelier cleaning a few years back. So that's a luxury service. The chandeliers are huge and they're very expensive. It should be done with great care, and there's a lot of liability associated with it. And we had the proper insurance coverage. So we added that on, but it was because we saw the needs of the local wealthy communities.
Yeah.
And this is very applicable to if you go to the customer's location. So like most home service, plumbers, HVAC, whatever, is creating service area pages. That's what we do as well.
That's
so
huge.
yeah, so literally if there's 9 cities, counties that you service, it's literally just creating a well optimized page for that area, town, neighborhood, whatever. Like in our area here, there might be in Houston, there might be the Woodlands, right? That's still kind of big. Spring, Texas, call it. And Spring probably has like 80,000, 100,000 people. So it's not like you're gonna just get like this massive flow of like customers coming in through that page. But if you compound and you just keep on making a service page for all the areas that you want, and over time there's like 10 service area pages that you're targeting, because there's like those are the areas you want customers to call you from. It really helps like generate those leads. The downside, like if you have if we were a detailer that just had a shop, we wouldn't be able to do that because we don't go to the customer's location. So it's a big benefit to actually go to the customer's home.
That's right.
Aside from that, we also run Google Ads as well. And that's the same thing. The same areas that we create the service area pages for are the same areas that we're running ads for. Probably the hardest thing is just like actually learning the tactical, like how do you get in there? Like what's the correct settings? What's the correct, how do you actually maximize the campaign or optimize that campaign? That's probably the more difficult part. SEO sounds like complicated, but it's pretty straightforward once you actually like start doing it. So probably the biggest thing is like for anyone that's listening and it's like, okay, well that sounds like a lot to do. It's like just pick one thing and like go all in on that one thing. And maximize the best you can from that one channel before okay, so I'll do SEO. Oh, it's a Facebook ads. Oh, and Google ads too. And let's just do one thing, because I did one thing, which is SEO for like the last 6-7 years. And that helped us pass 10,000 a month by just one marketing channel. And then you layer on Google ads, and then you layer on Facebook ads, and then you layer on whatever to actually get you going. But at first it's like, just focus on one thing and do that the best you can.
A lot of our listeners, I know this because I was this for a little while. A lot of our listeners are thinking, I don't need all that. I just get referrals. I built my whole business on referrals. I don't do any of that Google stuff or any of that. I don't pay for ads. What would you tell those people that they say, all I need is referrals?
I do think that there are businesses there that are able to run on referrals, and it depends on what level of growth they would like to experience. Google and SEO and AI and all of these new things that are coming about is the future. It's now and it's the future. And a lot of people are online. There's less face-to-face interaction. So you have to just think about how the world is operating now. And if you want to experience the growth, you do have to jump on board. I think a lot of home service companies will say that Google is their number one lead generator. And to your point is then fill that bucket. Don't try and change that. I don't think I'm going to try and change. I'm like, well, I want to make Facebook the number one lead source. Well, I don't need to. I'm just going to pump more money into Google. I think if it works for them, it works for them. But I would recommend jumping on board with technology because it's making it more seamless. And I have to add that our technology, such as Jobber and other resources, allow you to automate and systemize your business, which is making it easier. So The people who are not getting business through Google likely don't have automations in place and a lot of technology on the side that not only pleases that customer in the moment, but that creates future business in automated follow-ups and it eliminates a lot of manual work.
Mm-hmm. I would strongly urge our listeners to get as many referrals as they can. But what I've found, and this is broadly speaking, but what I've found is once you get to about 3 employees, roughly speaking, referrals don't keep up with demand. They just don't. You need to be paying into marketing. You need to be generating leads on your own. You can't rely. It's not linear. My last tip for marketing would be email marketing. I think if you're not emailing your customers, you're losing money. Whether you're using MailChimp as a platform, if you're just emailing them manually, I don't care how you do it, but email your clients weekly, at least monthly, to stay in their mind. I had a quick story. I had a client, we cut his grass for years, really nice house, really nice client, great guy. He emailed me out of the blue, loyal guy, weekly client, said, Adam, do you know a good landscaper? And I emailed back, I said, yeah, me, but that's my fault. That's not his fault. Yeah. I wasn't telling him over and over again and reminding him what else we do. So to him, I was just the mowing guy. He didn't know we did all this other stuff. And that's when I realized the power of email marketing is staying in front of your customers, because even the most loyal ones, they'll forget about you, not maliciously. They just have busy lives. And next door, they're getting their gutters cleaned. And so, okay, I guess I'll just get that guy. Mm-hmm. But we do that. So email marketing is really, really critical, and it's basically free.
Yep. I 100% agree with that.
We talked about who high-end clients are, why they're important, and now we're talking about marketing to them. Now we've got them. How do you keep them happy? How do you keep them on board? What are some of the tiny little things you do with clients that just are an added final touch that really seal the deal for them?
A nice added touch that we added a few years ago is the client will receive a letter that looks handwritten, and it's from the Clearview Washing family, thanking them for working with us and hoping to service them in the future. And we thought that that was a nice touch, and we thought that it looks classy, like it looks very personal, and that's the type of experience we're trying to create for the luxury client.
That's great.
Oscar? Yeah, and a lot of things goes back to just being a decent business owner. Like a lot of times it's so easy to forget, like just the most basic things are going to wow the customer just because they have so many bad experiences with just not good providers. So, I mean, aside from everything we said earlier, just a simple thing that we do after the service is we walk around the vehicle with the customer and say, hey, take a thorough look before you pay. Just make sure you're absolutely happy with everything. If there's anything that you see that we may have missed or overlooked, please let me know. We're not going to get our feelings hurt. We want to make sure you're happy. Because a lot of times, they might be introvert. They might just, I feel a little bad if I say something to them, right? It's okay. Let us know right now, if there's anything that you're unhappy with, because we can touch it up right now. That way you're happy with the service, and then we accept payment. And depending on the more higher end services, we might do a little bit like a post-care education with the customer. If they're spending however much for a correction and coding, there's a proper way to take care of it. So we'll kind of walk them through the process hey, we did all this work, but if you just take this through the car wash now, you're going to get back to square one. We've seen it time and time again where they leave our shop and 2 weeks later it's what happened? You just you ruined what we just did, and now we're doing it all over again. So yeah, just some education to the client on how to take care of their vehicle.
That's great.
That's smart.
This has been a great conversation. I'm going to summarize it in 3 quick steps here. So number 1, we talked about package pricing, making sure that we're offering additional service to our clients. They might call for one thing and then they really need 4 things. And so we give those options to them. Number 2 is making sure your marketing is targeted, because people are Googling more localized areas more and more now. And the third thing is that extra touch at the end, whether it's the final walkthrough or the beautiful brochure package that you have at the end, or photos sent to the client. Figure out what your clients want at the very end. It's like the mint with the receipt at the dinner table. And so doing those 3 things would really help our listeners go to the next level. Oscar, Christine, thanks for being here today. How do people follow you and find you online?
I can be found on Facebook, Christine Hodge or Clearview Washing, Instagram, Christine S. Hodge or Clearview Washing. And I would love to chat with all of my home service providers and other entrepreneurs.
Awesome. Oscar?
Yeah, on me, on Instagram, at DetailGroove. Just send me a message. I can help you out however I can.
If you like this episode, please like it, review it, share it. It really helps us get the word out and get more listeners.